Hello and welcome to Last Week in AWS. My voice has recovered from the thing that is reInvent, mostly. Now let's catch the stragglers that didn't quite make it in to reInvent. Amazon Bedrock Guardrails reduces pricing by up to 85%. It's very hard to view an 85% price cut in less than a year, because that came out back in April, as anything other than a tacit admission that they screwed up the price or that competitors have undercut them massively.
This episode is sponsored in part by my day job, the Duckbill Group. Do you have a horrifying AWS bill? That can mean a lot of things. Predicting what it's going to be, determining what it should be, negotiating your next long-term contract with AWS, or just figuring out why it increasingly resembles a phone number, but nobody seems to quite know why that is. To learn more, visit duckbillgroup.com. Remember, you can't duck the duckbill bill. And my CEO informs me that is absolutely not our slogan.
Amazon CloudWatch now provides centralized visibility into telemetry configurations. Awesome. The big problem with CloudWatch has always been its lack of exactly that. It's always whack-a-mole throughout all of your applications. How do you have a centralized view of anything? The answer has been historically not to use CloudWatch as the final form of your observability solution. Maybe this will change it. I'm sure we'll find out. Amazon EC2 F2 instances featuring up to 8 FPGAs are generally available. I've got a soft spot for these because field programmable gate arrays are used for very specific workloads that are not common, and there hasn't been a real enhancement in this space for a long time. They're weird. It's certainly not for me, but I'd like that they haven't given up on the space. Amazon SES now offers global endpoints for multi-region sending resilience, which is extremely important to be able to make sure that your ability to send email is absolutely capable of achieving 5 nines of uptime, survive entire regional outages, and guarantee deliverability right up until it touches the receiving party's email server. Remember, SMTP is a best effort protocol. This seems like a weird place to want to go for global resiliency. AWS Toolkit for Visual Studio Code now includes Amazon CloudWatch Logs Livetail. I don't like this because they charge for Livetail. There's a bunch of stuff on GitHub that will tail in real time CloudWatch log groups individually or as a collective group. And they're free. Love the capability. Feels nickel and dimey. Accelerate your AWS Graviton adoption with the AWS Graviton Savings Dashboard. I talked about this thing in my talk at reInvent. It's awesome.
Here at the Duckbill Group, one of the things we do with, my day job is we help negotiate AWS contracts. We just recently crossed $5 billion of contract value negotiated. It solves for fun problems, such as how do you know that your contract that you have with AWS is the best deal you can get? How do you know you're not leaving money on the table? How do you know that you're not doing what I do on this podcast and on Twitter constantly and sticking your foot in your mouth? To learn more, come chat at duckbillgroup.com. Optionally, I will also do podcast voice when we talk about it. Again, that's duckbillgroup.com.
You definitely want to switch to Graviton wherever you can. The savings are real, and fortunately, all the majors now have ARM chips, so you're not locking yourself in any more than you would be with any other AWS option. How AWS Sales uses Amazon Q Business for customer engagement. Yeah, I haven't heard from my account team in ages, which I think really says all I need to know about Gen AI's applicability to Amazon sales motions. AWS Network Firewall Geographic IP Filtering launch. Awesome. Being able to just cut out large swaths of the world based upon geography, kind of awesome. Does it stop someone who wants to see your content? Absolutely not. But it does demonstrate to regulators that you gave it the old college try. And finally, issue with DynamoDB local CVE and then a whole bunch of numbers and letters after it. More or less what happens is that a bad actor could do remote code execution locally due to a constructor failure in Snake YAML. It's the local thing that they give you to run DynamoDB or something equivalent to it for development and testing purposes. This is not something where I would lose a whole lot of sleep over it. Upgrade if you're using it. This is not worth a full-fired panic. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm Corey Quinn. Please Stick around.